For now, I think it should be working. It should work, but if
Let's see.
yeah, please, the
Good morning to you all. Thank you for attending this seminar. This is a fine idea now that we're approaching at the end of 5G solutions to see the ecosystem and what's happening around the development of the facilities to enable 5G services. Today I'm representing 5G Media Hub. 5G Media Hub is an ICT 41 project. Started a bit later than 5G Solutions, almost a year ago. And it is within the complex of the projects that implement facilities for new 5G applications. Especially Media Hub, as we have discussed, is in the vertical of media. So, in brief, the 5G Media Hub offers a wide range of capabilities to test 5G applications, upcoming 5G applications. And we will discuss a bit why this is important. We want to tackle as many aspects of 5G, innovative 5G aspects as possible, starting from AVR, VR, high resolution streaming, upstream, downstream, massive communication, massive consumption, and so on and so forth. We want to implement an end-to-end 5G secure for testing media services, especially assisting mobile app developers, but the whole ecosystem as well. And we want to be able to offer a robust and easy to use solution, end-to-end solution, in order to test this application prior to have them deployed in a commercial 5G environment. This is quite important because the ecosystem is changing, or we envisage to change the ecosystem. So far, till the 4G world, I would say, no matter if the technical capabilities are there, the operators and the application developers are in disjunct, I would say, spaces. Each one maintains its own privacy and its own ecosystem, and they are not blending, thus impacting the capabilities of increasing the quality and the potentials of the 5G systems. Now that we envisage to blend this ecosystem, to open facilities from the 5G point of view to the applications point of view, maintaining security, maintaining all the ingredients, the quality of the 5G offering. But we would like the application developers to understand the resources of the 5G network and which is the best way to use it in order to give additional capabilities to their own applications. And that's why we have entered this project in order to, I would say, make the first step towards testing new applications, understanding what virtualization is, understanding how an ecosystem of developers can collaborate in order to provide value-add services in the media sector. So in 5G Media Hub, what we did or what we envisage to do, we are actually in the middle of the project. Now the project started in the beginning of 2021 and it will last for 39 months, a little bit more than 3 years. So we federate existing 5G facilities. Of course, we upgrade them, but we build upon previous initiatives on 5G facilities. Then we implement NetApps, and we have already implemented an initial library of NetApps, of at least 5 NetApps, we'll see later on. And via these NetApps, we give capabilities to applications, media application developers in various domains. We'll see the indicative use cases later on. By that, we would like to simplify the access of SMEs to the resources of the network and the resources of common library of virtualized applications and change of applications such as NetApps, and see how they can use it, how they can offer quality services, and of course test the services in an end-to-end offering through, I would say, a virtualized 5G network prior to be able to deploy it in a commercial network. So by this, we bring together the community of media. By media, I do not only mean the media application developer on the high level, but also the middleware developers such as NetApp and below the subordinate layers, and of course the 5G operators who are responsible for the operation of the network. In 5G Media Hub, we collaborate, we have a good consortium of 17 partners from various domains, application developers, testbeds, operators, media partners. So we have a good blend of expertise in such a consortium. This consortium is led by Quadrat. Quadrat is quite known in the 5G domain, and especially on the NetApps, I would say, sector. And as I said before, we are in the middle of the development of the project. Dr. Kostas Ramadas is the coordinator of the project. In 5G Media Hub, we have a layered approach. In the upper layer of this architecture, as you see, we have the experimentation, the set of the experimentation tools. In abstract terms, the experimentation tools is the planning engine, the engine modes for the planning of the test. We have the validation and verification engine, the QoS monitoring engine, of course, the NetApps repository module where we store all the various NetApps. All these can be centrally located in one place, but also they can be distributed in various places. Then we have the experimenter portal module where the one who would like to initiate the experimentation enters to this portal and introduces the parameters of the experiment and the modules that he or her would like to use. And of course, we have the management module for each individual user. This is on the upper part, I would say, of the architecture. This is the module that addresses the developers of the application and how these developers may use the NetApps and the resources of the networks. Then we have the NetApps and slice layer. This layer imitates the virtualized 5G network, where we have the actual NetApps, the cross-domain orchestration. It's not the same as we use in 5G solutions. It's by coincidence probably the same acronym. It's not the commercial product from Nokia. This CDSO, the cross-domain slice management, comes from open source, especially manual resources and additional software that was built on top of this and aims at controlling the NetApps, the resources and the slices of the network. And we have also the controller of the network. Below this, we have of course, the 5G infrastructure, the two test beds that we mentioned before, one coming from CTTC and the second one coming from TNOR. Both of them are quite mature due to previous endeavors, and they are used heavily in 3 sets of use cases that we will see later on. And last but not least, we use a set of various UEs at the end of the day to accommodate as complex as possible and demanding tests in the trials. So the main outcomes is, of course, the set of the experimentation tools. The NetApps repository is a key outcome. This NetApp repository will also be used in further projects. Actually, we've got another project in Stream D of SNS projects, and all of these NetApps will be used in the Stream D as well, but also in other endeavors. So we consider them as a robust offering that can provide additional services. We have the validation and verification engine, and of course, we have the portal that the user accesses the offerings of the experimentation platform. So this is a robust outcome of 5G Media Hub. We have the experimentation facility and especially the orchestration and the applications around the orchestration. Still, it's a robust framework that will be used in further developments as well. The NetApps, we have two types of NetApps. We have NetApps specific for media and NetApps agnostic of media. So this second set of NetApps may be used in a varying set of verticals. These three, of course, target specific media verticals, but not media only in the sense of entertainment. Media, I think somebody, probably Hakol, mentioned this before. When we say media, we mean various types or various needs for exchange information via video or via images or other means. For instance, an ambulance that communicates with the center via video is a media type application, or a virtual surgery is a media type application. Of course, sports, football, we're having Woody Allen in a couple of days, it's a media application, of course. So we have media targeting NetApps and agnostic media NetApps, mainly target the security sector. And we have the set of use cases split in targeted scenarios in order to dive into the specifics of each variation of the use case we'll see later on. These are more or less, I would not like to repeat everything, the innovations, it's the CDSO, the orchestration, the testing as a service platform, and the platform is a testing as a service verification and validation engine, and the platform as a service. So we would like to build ecosystem as a service in order to offer to the community and to be able to be more flexible on the needs of each individual. And of course, the virtualization of the applications. So coming to the three sets of the use cases, as you will see, we try to tackle various aspects, various point of view of the media challenges. We have, as a first set, the immersive, I would say, an AR/VR part of the use cases, the applications. The first scenario is the immersive 360 VR media experiences and interactive consumption of ultra high definition streams, 8K VR media content. So we try to test all this to see if we can match the KPIs, but also if we can use in a consistent way the NetApps in order to build high demanding applications in a very effective way. So far in the pre-tests, I think we are quite successful. The actual testing period starts now, and we are going to have more concrete results by next summer, summer of 23. Initial results seem positive, but we have to evaluate them in real large-scale applications in the sense of 5G Media Hub. The second set of use cases is the production part of the media applications. In the production part, we go further to the traditional production world. So far, production, it was done by professionals or semi-professionals. But nowadays, we have production of individuals. These productions, I would say, in a commercial manner, are lost towards YouTube or other social media. So the operators do not take advantage of this production. We would like operators to change this ecosystem, to grab this value and incorporate user generated content of high quality to professional productions as well. So getting this content in a way or another in collaboration with the producers, the individual producers, is very, very important for the next gen of media applications. We test both scenarios, professional and semi-professional production, but also high quality user generated content from individuals that in a later stage via specific applications may be blended to professional productions. And the last set of applications is the distribution. So we have demanding media applications, production side, distribution side. We try to address all the media value chain from all the different angles. So we have multi-content distribution, the well-known CDN, and innovative applications such as smart city co-creation, where multiple media applications in an asynchronous, I would say, manner may be created and deployed in large environments. So I wouldn't like to take more time. I think are quite enough. And this is the essence of 5G Media Hub. We are going to start massive trials now, and we will have the first results by summer or a bit earlier, probably Easter. Thank you.
Thank you, Yiannis. Thank you very much for this the interesting presentation. Thank you for 5G Media Hub. Any question from here? Okay, Uli.
In 5G solutions, we've been confronting some issues with the availability of 5G Mini. I assume Media Hub is a bit later than us, right? It started a bit later.
Correct.
Did you encounter any such issues as well, and how did you confront them?
Actually, we didn't, because we are not directly connected to Vini, only to some resources. So we didn't, so far at least, we didn't face such problems. We'll see if we have any problem with accessing the resources now that we are ended the trials. But so far, I think we are quite okay. We skipped the problem of the solutions.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay. Other questions? Okay. I have a question for you. Here you have trials using 5G and the media world.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think that you need to improve 5G as a whole, so performance of the radio, so cloud, so everything, in order to accomplish your KPIs, or the main work is in the vertical side?
This is a very good question and cannot be answered in the scope of a single project. This is actually a crucial question. When we want to improve, but actually we enter a new world, we want to improve many aspects. The architecture of the network, the way we write the applications, and the way we visualize the resources, and the way we use the resources. In 5G Media Hub, actually, we do not tackle so much the improvement of the architecture of the network. We have requirements there, but we leave it. Okay. We try to virtualize the world, the VNFs, and chain them, and try to make the application developer use these virtualized applications. So we do not dive into the improvement of the architecture. In the upcoming projects, such as StreamD or other projects, we will focus exactly to this. How this architecture will be improved in terms of edge, in terms of core, in terms of virtualized resources. So we would like to play with the architecture in order to see which is the impact on the KPIs. In Media Hub, mainly, we try to blend the world of the virtualized applications and the application developers and leave more or less the network as it is.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
So next speaker, I guess I need to step in to make sure that we have. Oops. So let's just check if Yiannis is ready for your part.
Aran?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Okay.
Can you just grab this in and share from your side? Are you ready?
Yeah. So
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
yeah,
perfectly.
So please run about your presentation, and you can share the screen.
I will. Just a second.
Okay. Okay. Very interesting presentation. This one from 5G Solution about the remote production enabled from 5G. Rahav, the leader of LiveU Lab 4 in 5G Solutions. Please, Ran.
Thank you. Yes, as Andra mentioned, I'm leading the Media and Entertainment Living Lab in 5G Solutions. And I'm going to talk about the remote production that it's being done by 5G. I will refer to the test that we were doing in the 5G Solutions project. Do you hear me well? I hear some noises. Is that okay?
We hear you well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to talk about the more application level, real use case scenarios that being used mainly by LiveU. Then I will refer to some of the tests that we did in 5G Solutions. So let's start. Sorry, okay. For those who are less familiar with LiveU and what LiveU is, so I will give a short background. LiveU is a solution for live video from the field, which is using several cellular connections together. It can be any interface, but mainly, of course, cellular is everywhere. So mainly in the box that you see on the back of the cameraman, there are 8 interfaces, 8 modems that used to be connected to 3G. Afterwards, they were connected to 4G, and these days, of course, 5G. Any technology and any improvement that is coming to the world is being utilized by those connections and eventually aggregate the uplink of all of them together from several operators, if possible, and usually it's possible, in order to produce live, high quality, and reliable stream that is usually used for broadcasters. Of course, there are other verticals, but mainly broadcasters. And LiveU started with news, and in the last few years is investing more and more in sports. And this is where 5G, and specifically 5G solutions applications and tests are relevant for what we are doing. And I will, of course, elaborate in a second. So before we say how 5G here is saving the day, let's talk about on-site production challenges. Regular on-site production, and let's imagine a football game or any other sports which is being covered as in a regular production means. So of course, there is first the budget. There is a high pressure about the budget. Usually not all venues are equipped with fiber. Of course, those are the established ones are. But if you think about outdoor events such as marathons or golf, it's usually hard, and there is a lot of budget involved because you need to bring satellite on site, and there is many people. Second, and I started to talk about it, is the resources. It's a lot of organization. It's a whole production in the highest level to bring all the people, traveling costs, coordination, and the bigger the event, of course, it's more complex. In the last few years, we also had the restrictions of COVID, which, despite that COVID is kind of in decline, still habits that were acquired during the pandemic are here to stay. And of course, when you can do something better and cheaper, of course, you will keep it. And COVID-19 actually accelerates this phenomena. So what is the remote production solution? Basically, it's the ability to do everything that was done on site from remote, to produce most of the event using streaming and many means that we will see and discuss. But take the feed from multiple cameras, stream them using 5G to a remote location where all the decisions are being made. It used to be an OB van sitting just right to the stadium, taken from fiber all the feeds, but now it's possible, because of the high bandwidth and the low latency, to take all this data to the other side of the world sometime and make decisions related to the production, whether it's switching and graphics and everything. All of this can be done from remote. So this is the simple slide. The more complex one, and still we don't have here all the details, is this one. So if I take it from left to right, you can see the stadium with the cameras, and then you have LiveU units, and it can be, of course, any other vendor that utilize 5G. And the 5G is transporting all the data, which is, of course, the main feed, the audio. Sometimes there is a need to return video. So it needs to be used. Also, the download needs to be used in order to send the program from the remote location to the field. We have the intercom. There is IP pipe with data for tally and many other considerations that are not just the feed. There is a lot of data going back and forward, and you cannot do it if you don't have a reliable connection. And obviously 5G is more reliable than 4G, higher bandwidth, lower latency, and more continuity. And in 5G solutions, we did a lot of tests that simulate this scenario. With at Patras, we have setup of several connections, several modems. We also simulated different scenarios of network, which is more uplink oriented. And I hope that you see this rather simple but still rich slide. You can understand why we need 5G, and we did all this tests in 5G solutions. So at the end of the day, it is a game changer. There's a double meaning here, of course, which reduced the cost because you don't have to send all the people, you don't have to deal with satellite and fiber. You can plan events in even short notice. Sometimes in LiveU we had a notice of few days of a whole production with 10 cameras and a big team that is producing. And it's important to say that it doesn't affect the quality. The more we have expertise and the more better bandwidth we have from the network, then the quality is better, and we can see it by leveling up the tiers. If it was started in very low tier sport, I don't know, 5th league or 7th league or whatever, it's becoming closer to the first leagues. Of course, the Premier League and the Bundesliga are still not using this for the main games, but I think this is the future, and it's becoming more and more available because of all the benefits that we can see here. So let's see, here we have an example of, this is a tennis match, supposed to be a live video here, but I don't see it running. Never mind, I will show you a video at the end of the presentation, which will show better. What I want to say here that thanks to this ability, many other applications can be used in order to do what used to be done on site. So if we talk about graphics, if we talk about restream the feed to also online platform and several platform at the same time, mixing, replaying, all these are now online devices, online services that used to be physical devices. And that could not happen if we would not bring the stream home, bring it back to the remote production. By the way, sometimes it is called home production. It's equivalent name. In the US, I think they call it home production and more. More use cases. So with the Sky in Germany, we utilized 5G for a handball with several cameras plus smartphones. I didn't say yet, but sometimes even professional games can be combined with smartphones in several locations. So it's not just heavy professional equipment, but also the smartphones that are utilizing 5G. And we did experiments with the cell phones in 5G solution. This is use case 4.3. Combining the professional units plus the smartphones is becoming more and more common. Sometimes for behind the scenes, but also for fans, as you can see in this picture, fans that are looking. It's a nice angle that the producer can use. And what is nice to see is the quote from the SVP of Sky Germany. You can see it below that with the integrated LiveU and VisaT technology, we were able to bring handball action very close to TV viewer with 5G transmission quality. So that's from real life, from a customer that is basically very happy from what 5G can enable. This is with the Sky Sport, again, different flow with the Singular. Singular are doing graphics on the cloud. vMix are doing the mixing and the production. I will skip those. And how it looks at home, how it looks from remote. So it's basically a control room with all the facilities. Everything that we see here is being far away. It can be, sometimes it doesn't have to be really far away. Of course, it can be 1 kilometer away, right? But it's still saving the effort, and it's a home base for many other productions. Another example, Vodafone and Ericsson here, there was also a setup of a guaranteed slide, and we also experiment that in 5G solution of maybe not guaranteed, but more again, uplink oriented slice that allows some guarantee and some more confidence in the stream. Because if you have a short stand-up of 2 minutes reporting for somewhere, that's fairly easy. But when you need to keep 90 minutes or even more of a game, that usually requires more confidence. And with that cooperation, Vodafone and Ericsson, we were able, together with them, to have that confidence over guaranteed bandwidth slice. It's important to say that from user perspective, eventually the viewers, of course, they don't care if it's remote or not. They see it as a regular game. This is just a screenshot from the game that was produced. And you see, it's like a regular game that you see on TV. The viewer don't care that the means, and it's still being produced in high quality. A few screenshots of the LiveU Central. This is the central platform to manage the feeds. So we took a screenshot here of the feed coming to us, plus you can see the 5G streaming in relatively high bandwidth of 23 megabit per second. It doesn't have to be so high. It can be even as low as, I would say, something like starting from 5 megabit per second. Ideally, it should be more. Of course, the more the better. But we can see that it's of course it's a good evidence that we can do this kind of stream and even multiple streams. I'm repeating the slides that I showed at the beginning just to kind of wrap up the slideshow here. I believe that we moved through the important components, and I want to show you a clip that basically summarizes my presentation. Give me a second, and I hope you will also hear the sound. Let me see that I'm sharing the sound. I will stop sharing for a second, and once I share here, okay, include computer sound. Sorry, okay. I believe that you see my screen now, and I will run, this is less than 2 minutes clip. Okay. Okay. Stop sharing. So you saw several features. Not all of them are related, of course, to 5G, but generally speaking, this could not happen without the advantages of 5G that were explored in live use cases in 5G solutions, including smartphones, including multiple modems, multiple units, and it's been used more and more often in the events and usually sport production today in the world. Any questions?
There are any questions to run? Okay.
A little bit more about the transport technology that is trademarked by, just like whatever gets disclosed. What is the special magic that you are doing to achieve the high quality? Is it just licensing and a guaranteed bandwidth, or there is more to it?
Yeah, I heard the question. Yeah.
Okay.
There is more to it. The slicing and the guaranteed bandwidth is the transport, but there are many other protocols that are being used by LiveU. There is also a protocol called LRT. LRT is for LiveU Reliable Transport, which is basically UDP wrapped with LiveU algorithm and protocols. And besides that, there are many other things like fake error correction and retransmission and several tries. So basically, in LiveU, what we do is look at all the interfaces together, see which one is working best, and utilize those that are working the best at any given time. It can change during the time. So this is just one example of what we do. So of course, the 5G is helping, but there is a lot more into it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. You use your Thank you, Ran.
Sure, thank you.
Okay. Okay. Sure. Okay. Okay. I hope that you can see the screen. I introduce a presentation from 5G solution that is Kostas about the ultra high fidelity media in 5G era. Please, Kostas, the floor is yours.
Hello from me as well. As Andrea mentioned, I'm Konstantinos Oikonomou, working as a software engineer for Nova, and I'm going to talk today about the ultra-high fidelity media in the 5G era. The first step to understand why we need the 5G in the context of this in this context is to understand what ultra-high fidelity media is. As we can see here, the rapid progress in the display and capture technologies is enabling highly immersive production, ultra crisp viewing experience, wide view pictures with deep contrast, and multi-channel sound. Those are the things that our users want, and they want more of those. And in order to be able to support all of these features, we need to have the tools necessary to take full advantage of the capabilities of the 5G network and to provide the best user experience possible in a constantly more demanding environment in terms of network use. As we deduced from our tests, the most important factors in order to provide this optimal ultra-high fidelity media experience are latency and lost frames. And we focused on those as we're going to see in our tests afterwards. Also, we deduced that in order for the 5G network to be able to support and guarantee high quality of user experience, it needs to support efficient network management, fair resource allocation, high-speed transport capabilities and strategies, and also local and network caching of content. In order to see those capabilities in actions, we're going to see an example of an actual deployed architecture that was as part of the 5G Solutions project for the media vertical. The architecture consists of streaming devices, CDSO, VNF orchestration via OpenSlice, Prometheus, a KPI visualization system, zero-touch automation, and caching servers. There are some known words there, and there are some unknown words. Particularly, let's say CDSO. CDSO is an orchestration mechanism that is developed by Nokia that allows seamless communication between the streaming services and all the other components of the architecture. We're going to see each component's action in an upcoming slide. And also we have here a very interesting component that is called the zero-touch automation. We're going to talk about this right now because it's very important in how the 5G network is used. Zero-touch automation is an automated closed-loop control integrated with our vertical, and it offers two modes of operation. It can offer a proactive behavior, which means it can be combined with a machine learning forecast, or it can have a reactive behavior, which triggers the specified rules by monitoring the existing system status. In order to run this component, we need to have KPI availability in real time, near real-time data transfer and machine learning response, and also we needed to optimize and integrate, let's say, our vertical to this component. So let's go to the deployed architecture in order to understand how all of these are connected together. We start here with the CDSO, which starts the whole flow by sending a service order. This order is then sent to the UOP, the University of Patra's testbed, which has the service orchestrator, and this order is propagated then through the OSM, VNF, and PNF chain. This order is then moved to the NOVA encoders, which start the streaming with some default streaming parameters. What happens next is that the CDSO starts also the monitoring task of the KPI visualization system. This system gathers the KPIs from the whole architecture in one unified view and also in one unified database. This happens both from the encoders and the decoders and are sent over to the KPI visualization system. The next step is where the zero-touch automation system, which you can see here, comes into play, as well with the machine learning forecasting developed by CTTC. And all those components gather data from the visualization system. And when the zero-touch automation system detects that a change needs to be made, a trigger is made, it sends this trigger to the CDSO. And then the CDSO sends this, handles this CDA trigger, sends it over to the UOP testbed, and then an action is made. This action can be either to change the streaming parameters of the encoders because we need to ensure our quality, or it can also mean that we have to change to another network slice in order to have dynamic resource allocation. This can be shown here, which we essentially have two forms of user experience assurance. This is what step number 7 means, which is the action that the zero-touch automation system tells us to do. We can have two kinds of those actions. The first one is the control of the streaming parameters, which the ZTA indicates that we need to change the streaming parameters either to make the quality better because our network can handle this, or drop the quality a bit in order to assure that we don't have high latency or high lost frames. And this change is sent to the CDSO and the parameters are propagated through to the infrastructure and the streaming parameters are changed. This is the first version of control. The second version of control, which can happen either simultaneously or separately, is the control of network slices. What this means is that we have some predefined network slices with different capabilities and different potential, let's say, and we want to be able to utilize this network as efficient as possible. So if the ZTA predicts that the streaming will be very demanding or it won't be that demanding, it can send the a command to the CTSO in order to change to another network slice. This request is sent to the CTSO and propagated through to the infrastructure, and the streaming of the encoders is switched to the designated network slice, and the monitoring continues. What all this architecture ensures is that we achieve our ultimate goal of ensuring the optimal user experience in an ultra-high fidelity media. This is what our tests showed, and based on those tests, this, and not the same architecture, but an adaptation of this architecture can be used in order to develop new services for efficient networking for user-generated content and semi-professional productions, also for professional productions without the use of an outside broadcasting van, and productions with unmanned cameras. I think that's all from me. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you. Any questions?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. I think that
Yeah, we're
no problems for this.
You want to go back to your presentation or?
I don't think it's important. I think that we can introduce the last part.
Yeah, okay, then I'll take the last part actually. So now we are finished with the second, so the enhanced media part, and we will transition to sort of an intermediate presentation by TNOR, my colleague Minchi, on our platform. And then we have the panel. But first, I'll stop recording. And while we transition between now and the next session, we have a few minutes. I think we have time to, 3-4 minutes. So we have time to